Tonight on an all-new 2020.
The saga of Mike and Dalia Dippolito was so outrageous, so unbelievable.
Their relationship was like a powder keg. Those two had such sexual attraction.
The reality show Cops is there waiting to capture every second.
This is Sergeant Frank Ramsey, Boynton Beach Police Department. Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am, he's been killed. He's been killed.
Can you imagine you come home from a simple morning at the gym and you find out that your husband's been murdered?
I can't let you in, man. You have to do our job.
Listen, is there anybody that you know that you think would want to kill your husband?
Did you ever love Mike Dippolito?
Yes. I married him because I loved him.
Did you want your husband dead?
No, absolutely not. I'm in intensive therapy now, just trying to cope with everything that's happened because it's hard.
How do you explain then what we saw and what we heard on those videotapes?
Sure you want to kill him, dude?
And that's when Dalia Dippolito says the phrase that goes around the world.
I'm positive, like 5,000% sure, like.
Okay.
With evidence like that, what seems like evidence, how did she end up going to trial not once, not twice,
Dalia Dippolito walking out of 3 women at
but 3 times? It is reality TV on steroids. It's a cloudy morning in sleepy Boynton Beach, Florida. It's just before 6 a.m. It's already a humid 80 degrees, and most people are still asleep, but not 26-year-old newlywed Dalia Dippolito.
On August 5th, 2009, Dalia and Mike Dippolito had just passed their 6-month wedding anniversary. He's in bed in the morning, and Dalia gets up and goes to the gym at 6 a.m.
The LA Fitness in Boynton Beach.
He's groggy, it's early morning, he's still in bed.
She tells Mike on the way out, I'm going to the gym, maybe I'll bring you Starbucks on the way home.
In the middle of her workout, Dalia receives a phone call from the Boynton Beach police.
Sorry, I just missed your call. Please leave this message, and I will return your call as soon as I can.
This is Sergeant Frank Ramsey, Boynton Beach Police Department Detective Division. I need you to call me as soon as you can, ma'am.
A few seconds after missing the call, she calls the number, and it's the Boynton Beach police asking her to come home.
Okay, can you come right back to your residence, please?
Yeah, I'm leaving right now. Is it okay?
Ma'am, I'll tell you everything you need to know when you get here.
There were cameras everywhere, including from the hit TV show Cops.
She goes rushing up, looking very confused. You see her in her black leggings, her tight spaghetti strap tank top.
Listen, we had a report of a disturbance at your house, and there were shots fired.
Once she arrived, that's when she was told that her husband was killed.
Is your husband Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am, he's been killed. He's been killed, ma'am.
And that's when she falls into his arms, wailing. She is screaming, she's saying, no, 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 no.
No.
Try to calm down.
No.
Listen, right now we need to get you.
From the perspective of neighbors, they see this nice young couple, and next thing they know, something horrible has happened there. And they're all wondering, who would want to kill Mike Dippolito? Is it random? Is it somebody that could have come into my house?
My name is Jillian Jalali, and I have a podcast called Court Junkie. This case has it all as far as true crime is concerned.
Mike and Dalia seemed to be a perfect match. It was truly a fairy tale.
Dalia's father was Egyptian and her mother was Peruvian.
She was born Dalia Muhammad.
Dalia comes from a religious family, very close-knit family.
And when she was 13 years old, her family moved to Boynton Beach, Florida, where she essentially grew up.
Boynton Beach is located in Palm Beach County. Well, that's a pretty glitzy county in Florida.
When people think of Palm Beach County, they often think of Mar-a-Lago, where President Trump lives. He has that resort there. Boynton Beach, 15 miles away, is a typical American suburb.
It's sort of a middle class, more of a blue-collar community.
Dalia lived in a gated community. She lived there with her mother. Some describe her as beautiful. She's certainly attractive, especially when she's got her hair and makeup done.
I first met Dalia Dippolito back in 2015.
Has your story been told yet, truthfully?
No, it hasn't.
How would you describe your personality?
Really bubbly, very friendly, really social.
What types of values were you raised with? What was important in your family?
We were constantly doing family activities, family vacations, and a lot of family dinners, big Sunday dinners.
What were your hopes for her?
To grow up, be married, be happy, and have kids.
Dalia grows up and she becomes supposedly a real estate agent.
But the problem is that actually takes a lot of really hard work, and she's much more into the quick buck.
I think she was a woman who early on decided there were certain things in life she wanted, and she was going to use her sexuality to get them.
Money. She wants money.
Some people might call Dalia a gold digger, and if she could see maybe a fast buck in someone, she was gonna go for it.
Enter Mike Dippolito. He says that when he met Dalia, she was working as a paid escort.
He meets her on a website called eros.com. He was ordering an escort to keep him company over the weekend. He ordered her like a pizza.
Mike Dippolito is an interesting guy. Just like Dalia, he wants a lavish lifestyle. He yearns for the finer things in life.
Michael Dippolito was a muscular guy. He worked out, and he liked the high life too.
What was your initial impression of Mike Dippolito?
Charming.
What drew you to him?
His personality. He was really engaging, and it felt a really strong connection.
So, Mike Dippolito is a very likable guy. He's not afraid to be vulnerable.
And he just seemed sort of like a guy you'd see at the gym, maybe not too bright, but working hard and trying to have a fun life.
Mike describes his first meeting with Dalia, that she was sweet, almost naive.
Give me some insight into what it was like when you first met.
We got into outdoor activities and stuff, and we got bikes, and we started biking together.
What do you think Michael saw in you?
My personality, who I was, my sense of humor. We talked about all kinds of things. We watched the news together. We were big movie people. We both love Starbucks, coffee drinkers.
Mike had a very difficult upbringing, and I think he really yearned to feel loved and to feel safe and taken care of. He had this void that needed to be filled, and she made him feel like he had never felt before. But the problem that Mike had was that he was married at the time.
They start an affair, a hot and heavy and steamy affair.
He said the sex was unbelievable.
Did you have any scruples about getting involved with a man who was still married?
No, I was told that he was going through the divorce proceedings, and he had actually sent me papers showing that he was going through the divorce process.
Not only did Mike Dippolito have a wife, he also had a checkered past.
Well, long before he met Dalia, he'd gone to prison for running a boiler room stock operation.
He was conning old people over the phone.
They would call people up and they would sell them these penny stocks, convince them that these were going to become stocks that were going to be worth a lot of money, but in actually were just scams.
Basically like the movie The Boiler Room.
Listen, I'm presenting you with an investment opportunity that I think you're going to find very interesting.
Where he's cold calling people and trying to get them to invest in foreign currency.
He was ripping people off.
Along the way, he was definitely making enemies.
Mike pled guilty to organized scheme to defraud, unlicensed telemarketing, and grand theft. And he served a total of 2 years in Florida State Prison, followed by 28 years probation.
They're in love, they are determined to leave their past behind. So this ex-con and his former escort are in this whirlwind romance, and 6 months later, they're married.
The way that it happened, it was just so impulsive, and it felt right.
You went down to the county courthouse?
The courthouse the same day, applied for the license. It took a couple of days to, for it to legally be official and everything.
This was a shock to Dalia's mother, Rhonda Muhammad.
and she showed me her ring. I was like, wow, you got engaged? And she says, no, we got married.
And you thought what?
I wasn't happy at all, but it was time.
If you look at the pictures of them, she has this beautiful smile, he's grinning, they're embracing each other. It looks like true love.
From an outsider looking in, they're the happiest couple.
And that brings us back to that hot August morning in 2009. Mike Dippolito is dead. He has apparently been murdered in his house. And the big question is, why? Who would want to do this?
Police can't help but wonder if this grieving widow is actually keeping a deadly secret.
Are you sure that you don't know anybody who want to kill your husband?
This is Sergeant Frank Ramsey. Ma'am, I need to talk to you. It's very urgent when you come home. It involves your husband. There's been an incident.
Can you imagine you've got your whole life ahead of you, and you're in love, and you're planning everything, and then you come home from a simple morning at the gym, and you find out that your husband's been murdered?
I don't wish this on anybody. It's just beyond, words. It's so hard to be able to just fully express.
Your husband, Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am, he's been killed. He's been killed, ma'am.
The condo is surrounded by police cars. The street was mobbed with detectives, crime scene technicians.
I can't let you in, ma'am. We have to do our job. You have to find this killer, okay?
She says, I want to see my husband. And the police say, no, you can't.
If you want to help your husband, you need to go to the station with these gentlemen and tell us everything you know about who he knows, who he's connected to.
And they put her in the police car, and now she's being whisked away to the police station. So they take her to the interrogation room. She's sitting in there.
And I'll explain to you what we're going to do, okay?
They turn the camera on once Dalia steps into the room to watch her demeanor and to see how she was behaving.
I don't want to be videotaped.
Well, you're being videotaped. That's all part of it.
And still expressing grief and sorrow and disbelief.
I love my husband. We don't love you too.
No, you don't want to see him.
The police are treating her like a grieving widow. They're doing their investigation into who would want to kill her husband.
Listen, is there anybody that you know that you think would want to kill your husband?
My husband's on probation.
For what?
He's for stock fraud.
Stock fraud?
And in fact, she tries to steer the investigation to the victims that Mike had previously scammed money from.
Did you spend any time in prison? How much?
2 years in prison and 5 years on probation, going on to 6 years.
Oh my God. And what was that for?
It was for taking money. It was like, he explained it like boiler room kind of, where they would take money from people.
She tells them that he had been in prison before for fraud, that he was on probation, and that he still owed restitution, almost $200,000 to several victims.
He's been trying to get off probation, and it's just been nothing but problems the whole time that he's been trying to get off. People weren't happy that he was getting off probation because it's a lot of money he's got to pay back.
She tells them that Mike was just about to get off on probation early, and the people that he had scammed money from were very angry and upset about this.
Well, when you say people, who are you talking about? People that were involved with him before, or?
A little bit of everything. He's constantly running into a lot of the guys that he was on probation with. It was a lot of money. It was $191,000 that he had to pay back.
He's got all these sketchy characters from his past. Yeah, they're the ones.
I guess somehow when he went away, some guys didn't go away. They left the country.
You mean went away, he went to prison?
Right.
Okay.
They left the country. And so somehow he was dealing with some of those guys because they thought that he owed them, and I don't know.
She gave very vague details about, maybe people that could have been angry with him. She didn't provide law enforcement with much information at all.
Well, I'm asking, if you know any names, then we can run these guys down and see what they know.
I don't know if the one guy that I'm telling you about, Pasquale, if he also went away or if he didn't.
She starts to kind of give names and tell them, that there are possibilities of people that maybe had wanted to see Mike dead.
Is it Pasquale or Pasquale?
Pasquale.
Then Dalia starts spilling some of Mike's other secrets, like his substance abuse issues.
He's recovering alcoholic.
Dalia tells detectives that her husband Mike struggled with demons, alcohol and drugs.
And so with him, it's very important to be like on a schedule and, you know what I mean, like have a system and very organized with everything.
Get up every day, go to the gym, go to Starbucks. He would go to AA meetings. He felt was so important to keep regimented. He did that to make sure that he stayed sober.
And in fact, Mike would have otherwise been at the gym with Dalia, except he was recovering from liposuction surgery.
We were supposed to go to the gym.
Oh, both of you were supposed to go?
He had like 2 blood handles removed from here.
And so he was laid up. He couldn't exercise, he couldn't go to the gym.
We haven't gone since his surgery, but every morning, 5 a.m., we're both at the gym.
You're lucky.
What?
You're lucky you went to the gym. I don't know if you know, he was shot. He was shot twice. And I want you to know all this.
Do you know this?
Not exactly. I mean, they told me he was shot.
He was found in the bedroom. He was shot twice in the head.
She brought up every negative detail of his life in those moments after she learned that he had been killed.
Well, you know, he's very, he used to be a drug addict. And
What was his drug of choice?
Crack.
Crack? I'm going to be back. What I want to do is call right now. I'm going to go out and get in touch with the officers at the scene. I want to see if the house was burglarized.
Okay.
All right, just hang on a second.
Thank you.
So when the police exit and Dalia was still being videotaped, as they leave the room, she starts crying.
A few moments later, the detective comes back in and he has one more question.
There's no problems between you guys, no financial problems, with your family, you and him.
No, there's nothing.
In that police interview, Dalia paints a rather rosy picture of their relationship. No problems, no drama.
But what everyone would soon learn is there actually was trouble in paradise.
Everything seems great. At least that's what Michael thought.
What he didn't know is that Dalia Dippolito had another man in her life.
As Dalia Dippolito sits in that interrogation room, there is still a lot that investigators don't know about her.
She uses men to give her money or to get into their lives so then she could then extract their money from them.
She knew how to use her sex appeal, and she had a lot of it, to get her way. And that's what she did very successfully with men, including Mike Dippolito.
She wanted Mike's house. She wanted all of his money.
She decided, hey, I got to figure out a way to get his stuff. She had several men wrapped around her fingers.
One of those men was a Florida businessman, Mohammed Shihada.
He was a 32-year-old Jordanian national. He was a quasi-actor.
In fact, if you go to the site for Mohammed's talent agency, his online portfolio is still there.
He really enjoyed playing poker and gambling in Las Vegas.
How did you know Mohammed?
I met him a long time ago. He had a convenience store business, and I had actually walked into his store. And that's where we struck up conversation, and we both had Middle Eastern background, and so we just ended up developing a friendship.
And you stayed in touch for how many years?
Throughout the course of maybe like 15 years.
So you considered him a close personal friend?
Considered him a friend. I wouldn't say close.
They began a flirtation which was very heavily sexually charged. When she needed something, they would rekindle that old flame, so to speak. If she needed to vent about a guy she was dating or a relationship that she was in, she would talk to him. So in July of 2009, after Dalia was married to Mike, she reached out to Mohammed once again, as she had done over time. She starts a narrative with him about Michael Dippolito.
Dalia told Mohammed that she was physically abused, that he was controlling, and she just needed out of the marriage.
Were there any stresses on the marriage?
We got into little arguments and things, but it wasn't anything major.
But Dalia tells Mohammed that her husband is abusive, emotionally abusive, so much so that a regular divorce isn't going to cut it. So she wants Mike out of her life for good and turns to Mohammed for help.
She wants for a more permanent solution to her problems.
Dalia confides in Mohammed that she wants Mike Dippolito killed. They meet at a gas station in Boynton Beach. Dalia tells Mohammed that she's desperate, that she needs to have Mike killed.
It's a common thread throughout these types of cases. Beautiful women, and they also often involve allegations of abuse.
Mohammed is really nervous that if Mike Dippolito is killed, that law enforcement would come back to him, and he didn't want that to happen, and he didn't want Mike to be killed.
Mohammed Shahadi is actually the person that called police and said that Dalia Dippolito was planning to murder her husband.
We had a gentleman come into the police department advising they had some information in reference to a young lady that wanted her husband killed.
They captured this first conversation that they had with Mohammed on a tape recorder.
Okay, tell us what happened.
She asked if I knew someone who can kill her husband for her. I said, basically, no, I don't. She tells me, though, he's the nicest, sweetest nerd, but you can't stand him.
So at first, we weren't sure what we had.
Do you know where she lives?
No.
At the time, we didn't know what to believe.
Her last name, I don't know.
Here's a gentleman who walks in. According to him, he's had a sexual relationship with this young lady, but he wasn't sure exactly where she lived or her last name.
She's maybe 5'6", 5'7", dark black hair, green eyes. She's a good-looking girl, really good-looking girl, actually.
The fact that somebody was going to get killed, it was bothering his conscience.
Did she ask you to find someone for her?
Yes.
So after that first interview, law enforcement realizes that they're gonna need to talk to Mohammed again.
What cops want Mohammed to do next is bold and risky. They want to set up a sting.
They say, we want you to put a wire on, and we want you to get her to outline this plan to kill her husband.
So Mohammed morphs into a confidential informant.
We have the informant contact the suspect by phone and set up a meeting so we can ID her. The mobile gas station was one of those places where they've met before in the past, so we decided to make that the location.
All right, you good to go?
Yeah, I'm good to go.
All right, good.
So police outfit Mohammed's car with some cameras, and they put a wire on him.
Hey, what's up?
And a few seconds later, she begins talking about getting her husband killed.
There's no small talk. Mohammed and Dalia launch right into a secretly recorded conversation detailing Dalia's murderous intentions.
At first, it seems like her motive might be Mike's money.
Honestly, you're worth seriously gonna kill him over that much money?
It's not even over the like it's not even about money.
Dalia has no idea that every word coming out of her mouth is being caught on camera.
Okay, well, I'm trying to say is, this guy's a professional. It's not, all he does is get it done, that's it. It's
right.
This is where he actually says he was going to introduce her to a hitman.
I know him, you know, like, he's good at it.
We realized that this guy was credible.
But now, how am I supposed to know what day he's gonna do it?
We were shocked how easily she talked about getting her husband killed.
He might tell you, oh, it's like to get out of town or something for a day.
I'm not going out of town.
You even hear during the conversation Her talk about no one would ever believe that she could be capable of murder.
His mom is not going to get suspicious of you or anything like
Why
that?
me? Knowing somebody, nobody's going to be able to point a finger at me.
She ended up bringing $1,200 in cash. She believed that that money was going to be given to the hitman to buy a gun.
Yeah, go
Okay,
ahead.
I'll try.
She also bought 2 pictures.
I have a picture of him right now. You're sure everything else is okay?
Yeah.
You're sure?
Yo, what more sure can you want? You're planning a murder. Come on, stop, yo.
She's made a down payment on death.
And now Dalia Dippolito is about to come face to face with the assassin.
But little does she know, she is walking into a trap.
After Mohammed Shihada alerts Boynton Beach police about Dalia Dippolito's deadly plan, Dalia meets face to face with that hitman.
What she doesn't know is this hitman she's about to meet is actually Witty Jean, Boynton Beach police officer who is working undercover on this case.
They agreed on a location, which was a CVS parking lot in the city of Boynton Beach.
Pretty much parked in this exact spot right here. We had 2 cameras in the car. The cameras were positioned in the back seat. You can't help being a bit nervous as you're doing this.
Remember, there's 1,000 things that can go wrong.
She parked and got into the car and she said, hey.
Dalia shows up to the meeting with Witty, and she's wearing a cute little sundress. She's almost flirtatious with him in the car.
We wanted to make sure that she caught my attention in my eyes. The way she was dressed, pretty much, I'm like, okay, she wants to show off her body. So, I have to give her a compliment. I told her, hey, you look good. Hey, you look good.
She clearly thought she was talking to a hitman, and to her, this was something that had to be done.
How sick we got everything going.
Well, it's up to you.
You need to come like 15.
We were shocked how easily she talked about getting her husband killed.
She gave me definitely a sense of urgency. You cannot wait to make it happen. If you're gonna make it happen, you have to make it happen this week.
I'll give you a quick breakdown of what I've done so far.
We talked about money, how much money she's gonna pay me. At one point she said, well, I thought that I already gave you the $1,200.
$1,200 went to buy my heat, my gun, okay? A couple hundred, for other people to do things.
Right.
You know what I mean?
When I had to explain to her, $100 is nothing. I had to buy a gun, I had to buy a phone, I had to buy this car.
As she starts talking, what's going on in the minds of the police officers is, wow, this woman is real. This plot is real.
As a matter of fact, I've already spent more money, just to get it here.
Right.
Trying to tell her, look, however, which way you want it done, I'll do it.
So I just want to make sure that, this is what you want. If you want to really do.
When she's meeting with the hitman, he's telling her, look, there is no turning back. When I leave you today, you have no way to reach me.
I explained to Dalia that after today, she wouldn't be able to find me to cancel this whole plan that we put together.
When it's done, you have to have an opportunity to change your mind.
And that's when Dalia Dippolito says the phrase that goes around the world.
I'm positive, like 5,000% sure.
Okay.
No, there's no, I'm determined already. I'm positive, like 5,000% sure.
Her line is classic. I am like 5,000% sure, right? So it's, she is so committed to this.
Like 5,000% sure.
I didn't think she was going to be that open. I'm 5,000% sure. When I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
I'm a lot tougher than what I look. I know you're like, oh, what a cute little girl, whatever. But I'm not.
She told me she may look like an innocent little girl, but she's a whole lot tougher than she looks. The most surprising thing about my meeting with Dalia was how adamant she was in making sure that this was done.
All right, Wednesday morning, go to the gym. By the time you get back from the gym, you're going to find a dead body in the house, all right?
As the Boynton Beach Police Department are preparing for their starring role in this true crime drama, the Cops television show are like flies on the wall, recording every bit of it.
Our police officers, our detectives, our professional staff, they every day are doing things in our community to keep people safe and to save lives. And for us, it was a great way to showcase that and to let the community and the larger community know what these heroes are doing every day.
Now, the Boynton Beach police say that show had been interested in their department for several months. And arguably, their cameras never captured a scene quite like this one. They are about to hit the jackpot.
Everybody knows why we're here. Chachi, you and Brian will go with me. Frank or somebody will call the wife.
Just like the undercover instructed her to leave the house, she did.
She grabs a smoothie, and she grabs her purse, and she says, "Bye, Mike," and she goes off to the gym.
Dalia is at the local LA Fitness, but back at her condo, police are there setting up an elaborate trap.
That looks good. I like it.
We've had set up a fake crime scene around the house, yellow tape around the streets, around the house. We make it look like her husband had gotten killed inside the house.
At 6:21 a.m., as Dalia Dippolito is working out, that's when she misses that call from the sergeant at the Boynton Beach Police Department.
Sergeant Ramsey, can I help you? Is this Miss Dippolito, please?
He intentionally pronounces her name wrong to throw her off.
Once he got her on the phone, told her that something had happened and we needed her to come to the house.
They needed to break some news to her.
No, ma'am, I need to talk to you. Ma'am, I'll tell you everything you need to know when you get here.
As Dalia approaches, she sees what's really a crime scene. She sees police, tape blocked off.
So the condo is surrounded by police cars. There's a crime scene van, there's crime scene tape, her apartment's roped off with the tape.
The front door to the townhouse is wide open with black fingerprint dust everywhere.
Dalia arrives from LA Fitness from going to the gym.
And she rushes up. Dalia Dippolito doesn't know she's being set up right now.
A really buff police sergeant tells her, "Your husband has been murdered."
Is your husband Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am, he's been killed.
Before the words are even out of his mouth, she starts crying.
And he even hugs her, and she figures she's got them wrapped around her finger just like all these other men. And little does she know, her world is about to come crashing down.
I tell you, ma'am, he's been killed.
Going into his arms.
She's wailing.
As I watch her breakdown as she starts to cry before the word killed is even said, this was the role that she had practiced.
And the play acting continues when they get Dalia into that interrogation room. Everyone was in character that morning, including the undercover police officer, Woody Jean, who suddenly appears in the interrogation room to make a cameo appearance of his own.
You know who this guy is?
And tell us everything you know about who he knows, who he's connected to. Don't worry, we've already taken care of your dogs with animal control for right now. Everything's under control.
Dalia's acting, and the police are acting. As she's brought to the police station, everyone involved is faking it.
They think they have the goods to charge Dalia Dippolito, but the police still want to see if they can make her crack. They're going to give her every opportunity to own up to what they suspect she did.
You have the right to remain silent and not answer any questions. Do you understand that?
She absolutely thinks that she has everybody fooled.
He was found in the bedroom. He was shot twice in the head.
He wouldn't open the door unless it's somebody that he knows, because
Well, then
we don't open for anybody.
She believes that she's going to be able to convince law enforcement that she truly loved Mike and that she had nothing to do with his murder.
When the police asked Dalia if she wanted her husband killed by any chance, she denied it, completely denied it. No.
You wouldn't want to kill him, I hope. Not at all.
We are fine, like there's nothing.
Dalia Dippolito is pretending she knew nothing about this, and the police are pretending like her husband is actually dead.
Did you want your husband dead?
No, absolutely not.
Did you want any harm to befall him? Never.
No, never.
Suddenly, the tide begins to turn, and the police get tough with Dalia.
They've had enough with her charade and with her lies.
Police are thinking that by ushering in that would-be hitman, the man that she paid to murder her husband, surely that will get her to come clean.
Do you know her?
Put your head up and look at her.
Put your head up.
I've never seen her.
What were you doing coming out of her house? Get him out of here.
Inside, I was kind of laughing because I knew that I spent a good 25 minutes talking to her, and hearing her saying that she's never met me was pretty shocking.
She denies ever meeting him, and she doesn't know who he is.
And then the detective all of a sudden goes from being the grandfatherly figure that he had been into more of a aggressive.
You're going to jail today for solicitation of murder. You're under arrest. That's an undercover police officer. We filmed everything that you did, recorded everything that you did. You're going to jail for solicitation of first-degree murder of your husband.
I didn't do anything.
Did you hear what I just told you?
I heard what you said, but I didn't.
Everything, listen to me. Everything has been recorded. You were photographed in the convertible when you sat in his car in the front of CVS. What do you want to do?
I don't think for a second that she thought that investigators in the interrogation room were going to turn on her.
Listen to
I
me.
didn't do anything.
You're going to
I
jail.
didn't do anything, please. I didn't do anything.
Can you talk about that moment when you realized the tables were turned?
I panicked. I was just completely frozen, and I couldn't move. I couldn't really process and digest everything that was going on.
Shockingly, the Boynton Beach Police Department media director posted the video of the staged crime scene.
Okay, who would want to hurt him?
The Boynton Beach Police uploaded the video the same day.
This was our way of getting video to our local media. We uploaded the video just as we did dozens of other videos.
We see this stunning video of this takedown, this woman crying and wailing. We'd never seen anything like it.
It's always a risky move for the authorities to release any information during an investigation. But Florida is one of the most open states in the country when it comes to sharing information with the public.
In a matter of hours, we were getting phone calls from national and international media.
I need you to take her to the station.
I thought it was going to be a very hot story. There's the jilted husband, there's money, there's video.
If you want to help your husband, okay? If you want to help your husband,
We were stunned. We were delighted.
When law enforcement confronts her with all of the evidence that she wants Mike Dippolito dead, Dalia denies that.
Listen to
I
me.
didn't do anything.
You're going
I
to
didn't
jail.
do anything, please. I didn't do anything.
She's sticking to her script. She's crying.
And with the spotlight on Dalia, the grand finale is about to unfold.
So finally they say, guess what? He's alive.
He's alive.
Come here, please. Come here.
Mike, come here, please. Come here.
3 words to describe Dalia. Liar, liar, liar.